Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a woman talking on the phone to a campsite manager. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Hello, Lake Payne Campground. Can I help you?
Oh, hi, yes. I wonder if we could book a site on your campground.
Sure. My computer's down at the moment, so I just need to get a form. Okay. How many nights would you like to stay for?
Well, ideally, we'd like to stay for 5.
5 nights. Okay. So when are you planning to arrive?
Well, we'll be travelling around the area from mid-July, and we think we'll be at the lake by about the 24th.
Let's see. July's a busy time. We could probably fit you in, but to be honest, if you want 5 nights, it would be better to get here a day earlier. We've got a big group coming at the end of the month.
Okay, the 23rd's fine. We weren't sure, so...
Great. Do you just want somewhere to park and pitch a tent, or do you have an RV?
An RV?
Yeah. You know, a recreational vehicle? A camper van.
Oh, right. Yes, we're driving a van, so...
Okay, that's fine. So, what name is it, please?
It's Hepworth. That's Hepworth.
Okay, thanks. I've heard that name before.
Well, it's quite common in England, particularly in Yorkshire. That's where we're from.
I was going to ask if you were in the UK. It's a really good line, isn't it?
Yes.
Would this be your contact number?
Yes, it's 07968 355 630.
Great, thanks.
Do you want my home number as well?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
We supply a number of facilities. I don't know if you're familiar with the way campgrounds work here?
It would be good if you could explain.
Well, you're coming in the RV, so would you like to hook up to our electricity?
Oh, yes, please.
You can also attach your vehicle to the water taps here.
I hope it's all easy to do.
Yeah, you just plug into the electricity and switch on the water. The people who hire out the RVs will explain it all.
Okay. And what about wastewater?
Sure, you can have a site with a sewer. Or I think you guys call it a drain. That's a bit extra. Not all campgrounds have that facility, you see.
Fine, we'll have it. So what's the total and...
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Okay, I've allocated you a site, so you need to note the code down.
Right, I'll just get a pen.
Most of our sites are coded using letters and numbers, EW or SEW.
Uh-huh.
So yours is one of the SEW ones, and it's number 47.
Got that.
That's the area that has all the requirements you need.
Is it easy to find when you get there?
What time will you be arriving?
I'm not sure, but it could be quite late.
Okay, so the reception could be closed. We close at 6.
Oh dear.
It's okay. I'll tell you where to go. As you come into the campground entrance, you'll see our office. Drive past the front door. There's another office next to ours. That's the business office. Yeah, and there's a pool behind that.
Okay, it will be good to have a swim.
It's open till 8, so feel free to use it. Keep going past all those, to the end of the track. At the top, you'll come to at the very end, there's a laundry.
Okay.
Turn left at the laundry, and you'll see your own sites straight ahead of you. They're all clearly labeled.
That sounds easy enough.
Just before you hang up, we've had a few problems with campers with, stuff left lying around.
Oh.
Well, it may be an oversight, but we do ask our visitors to take away all their litter.
Of course. Otherwise someone has to clear it up.
That's right. Also in the morning, we do have washrooms, and once the reception's open, you'll be able to get a key for the shower.
Right.
You can keep it while you're on the site, but could you return it when you leave?
I'll make sure we get it back to you.
Yeah, otherwise we don't have enough to go around.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. See you soon.
Yeah, bye.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear someone talking on the radio about colours. You now have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
Well, it's a colourful start to the day on DB Radio. Kathy, what have you got to tell us?
Thanks, Brian. I thought I'd talk about 2 areas today where colour plays a huge role in our lives, and they are food and fashion. So let's start with food, and more specifically, food colouring. In many parts of the world today, people like the food they purchase to be the right colour. So if we buy tinned or canned vegetables, such as green peas, it's highly likely that the contents have been enhanced through the use of colouring agents. Peas are naturally green, you might say, but they may not be green all over, or they may not be the most pleasing shade of green. So a natural additive or two can quickly sort that out, just as it can the perfectly minty green ice cream that we buy our children. Children are a big market for food and are easily tempted by colour. Breakfast cereals, for instance, that come in various shades of brown, are often altered using caramel, a natural brown food colouring derived from caramelised sugar. This also gives the cereals a shiny, mouth-watering appeal, which is hugely tempting for consumers. In fact, natural food colouring goes back a long way. One of the oldest, or perhaps the most well-known natural food colours, is red, or cochineal, named after the insects used to make it. Aztec Indians created a crimson dye from the bodies of crushed beetles. Producing cochineal is very costly, so it was unpopular with consumers for some years. But health scares linking artificial red dyes to cancer have meant that more shoppers are buying cochineal again. Now, there's one food colour that manufacturers use with a certain amount of caution, and that's blue. Our ancestors believed that food this colour was dangerous. If you think about it, very few naturally occurring foods are blue, and there is little demand for the colouring. In fact, if you're trying to lose weight, experts suggest that you put your food on a blue plate. It's almost guaranteed to kill your appetite.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
OK, let's look at another area where colour is a key issue. If you say you've bought something new to wear, often the first question people will ask is, what colour is it? Yet the answer doesn't necessarily indicate that the colour was your preferred choice. As consumers, we have to balance how we feel in certain colours with what is fashionable at the time. You think you've suddenly developed a desire to wear orange, whereas, in fact, the shops are full of it, and you've ended up buying an orange shirt that may or may not suit you simply because it's this season's colour. Well, the interesting thing here is that colourists, as they're called in the business, have to look ahead and say what colour models will be wearing in fashion shows several years in advance. To get this right, they have to consider how long it will take to produce the cloth dyes, they have to set up deals with suppliers, and bear in mind the constant changes in consumer taste. So what may seem to be this season's colour has actually been agreed years before. So what do we think about the colours we wear? Like everything, our tastes alter with age. In general, though, we think that black makes people look and feel thinner, while red does the opposite. White goes with everything, whereas yellow is harder to match. And nothing alters the fact that there are certain colours that we never feel comfortable wearing. And finally, whether it's food or fashion, anyone in the business field knows that it isn't enough to get a product the right colour. Even the packaging has to be carefully designed in order to maximise sales. It's no good, for instance, wrapping an item in brown paper if you want it to stand out. Much better to go for eye-catching colours, or in fact, in today's world, green has become very popular because it promotes the view that the company cares about the environment. In addition to their products, businesses also have to think about the people who come up with the ideas. If you surround your workers with drab colours, they'll come up with equally dull ideas. This isn't rocket science. We used to associate red with creativity in business, but it turns out, according to a recent study, that blue is a much better stimulus for creative thought. So the colour's not all bad.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear two students discussing their new course. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 23. As you listen to the first part of the conversation, answer questions 21 to 23.
Hi, Kate. How did you like the first lecture?
Hi, Julie. You mean that lecture about brand identity?
Exactly. When our professor described how brand names are created.
As I understood, he'll teach us practical tips and techniques to create better brands. And what about course duration? I heard it's 5 weeks.
No, 5 weeks is without the final project. The total duration is 7 weeks.
Oh, I forgot about it. It's the first time I'll be doing a group project.
And I'm a bit nervous to work in a 5-people team.
I think it's going to be okay.
He was talking about the right marketing strategy. Did you hear that?
Yes, that was the most exciting part of the presentation. The key thing is to grab people's attention.
That's true.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions
24 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 24 to 30.
And how do you like the curriculum?
I think it's nice. It's great that we'll be learning marketing in detail, as I've always been interested in this subject.
Me too. And after that, we'll be training to design custom logos.
The professor told that the curriculum has been modified, and we won't learn design this year.
What a pity.
The same with product management. But you shouldn't worry, they just combined these 2 sections into a larger one called branding.
Then it's good. Moreover, they've added something called e-commerce this year.
It's a great alteration, and the course is kept up to date. Online trading is so popular now.
And after that, we'll learn advertising.
Yes, and also analytics.
Really? Won't analytics be replaced with customer attraction?
Yes, you're right. I forgot about that.
I think that's all. The professor also teaches a course called Business Strategies. So, we may take his other course next year.
Dear, and where is the next lecture?
It's in the big classroom on the ground floor.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Don't forget to take your last week assignment.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear a lecture about the Great Wall of China. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Perhaps the most recognizable symbol of China and its long and vivid history, the Great Wall of China is one of the most extensive construction projects ever completed. Somewhat ironically, though, the one monument that China built to keep foreigners out is actually now the biggest tourist attraction in the country. Despite the initial purpose, the Great Wall never effectively prevented invaders from entering China. It came to function more as a psychological barrier between Chinese civilization and the world, and remains a powerful symbol of the country's enduring strength. Though the beginning of the Great Wall of China can be traced to the 3rd century BC, many of the fortifications included in the wall date from hundreds of years earlier, when China was divided into a number of individual kingdoms during the so-called Warring States period. Around 220 BC, Qin, the first emperor of a unified China, ordered that earlier fortifications between states be removed. and a number of existing walls along the northern border be joined into a single system that would extend for more than 10,000 li and protect China against attacks from the north. A li is about 1/3 of a mile, and that's where the monument's name came from. The original name for the Great Wall is Long Wall of 10,000 li, or simply the Long Wall. Though the wall is quite inspiring, it was never called the Great Wall in Chinese, and only foreign mistranslation with romantic overtones referred to it as Great or Big Wall. With the death of Qin and the fall of his dynasty, much of the Great Wall fell into disrepair. Much later, a series of frontier tribes seized control in northern China. The most powerful of these was the Northern Wei dynasty, which repaired and extended the existing wall in 390 AD to defend against attacks from other tribes. Despite its long history, the Great Wall of China as it exists today was constructed mainly during the mighty Ming dynasty from 1368 to 1644. Under the strong hand of the Ming rulers, Chinese culture flourished, and the period saw an immense amount of construction in addition to the Great Wall, including bridges, temples, and pagodas. In earlier centuries, the wall held little importance for the Mongols as a military fortification, and mostly served to protect caravans traveling along the profitable trade routes. But during the Ming dynasty, the Great Wall was considered vital to the defense of the country. Before the use of bricks, the Great Wall was mainly built from stones, wood, and rammed earth. However, during the Ming dynasty, bricks were heavily used in many areas of the wall. The size and weight of the bricks made them easier to work with than earth and stone, so construction quickened. Additionally, bricks could bear more weight and endure better than earth and wood. But many western sections of the wall are constructed from mud, and thus are more susceptible to erosion. That's why in many locations the Great Wall is in disrepair. A report by the State Administration of Cultural Heritage states that almost 1/5 of the wall has totally vanished. In places, the height of the wall has been reduced from more than 5 meters to less than 2 meters. And more than 60 kilometers of the wall in Gansu province may disappear in the next 20 years due to frequent sandstorms. However, the state does its best to preserve and extensively renovate the Chinese wall, which makes a considerable figure upon the terrestrial globe. Due to its imposing sizes, the wall is often believed to be visible from the moon. But it's only a rumor. The width of the Great Wall, viewed from the moon, is about the same as that of a human hair, viewed from 2 miles away. In other words, to see the wall from the moon would require superhuman eyesight. Today, the monument attracts thousands of national and foreign tourists every day. In 1987, UNESCO designated the Great Wall a World Heritage Site. And now the Great Wall is generally recognized as one of the most impressive architectural feats in history.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.